Welcome back to another episode of Menace Rides. As promised, we are going to be showing you how to replace a fuel injector on a Mercedes-Benz C250 CDI W204 2013 model. So stay tuned, and it's going to be a quick short video, but I promised it, so let's get it done. Right guys, so in this episode we're changing the faulty fuel injector. If you haven't seen our diagnostics on this, please go to the link and watch our previous videos. We're trying to diagnose a fueling issue. We came up, we've definitely got an issue on this injector where the return line was returning way too much. It was at cylinder 2 in the previous video. We swapped it around to confirm that it wasn't an electrical issue or a fuel line issue. We've got a replacement reconditioned unit and we're going to be replacing it. Very easy job to do if you're willing to do it yourself. I've let the car cool down. Let it sit overnight so that the pressure in the fuel rail is lower. There might still be some pressure because it is a common rail. So always work clean and tidy around the fueling system. You don't want to be getting any dirt into the fuel lines. You don't want to be getting any dirt into the new or the old injector. So the tools we're going to be using is a size 17 normal ring spanner or spanner. We've got a trim removal tool. I did show it in a previous video. That's perfect to get into these little return lines to unclip it. I've got two little flat screwdrivers that will assist us in the electrical department. So take our electrical connector off, and then there's going to be a Torx screw underneath that. So without further ado, it's also handy to have a little bit of a light on the situation. Boom, I've got this little sight light, the volt, sort of works. Alright guys, so we're going to start by cracking our fuel line, releasing the pressure. When you're undoing a fuel line, guys, especially on injectors, you don't want to be grabbing it in the front. There's not a lot of meat there, you can damage the bolt. You have to grab it on the rear end of it. It'll be in any owner's manual to do it this way. And that's only because it can take more torque at the back. I'm going to crack that open. Might be a little bit of fuel pressure in there. I've got some blue roll or hand tiles ready. Okay, we're looking good. And we don't want to be bending this, so we will unscrew it from there and follow the line and unscrew it from here. Well, not unscrew it, loosen it. It's not a screw. Okay, just crack that loose. That should give us movement on our fuel line. Yep. Just unclip it here and here. Okay, guys, you got to be very, very clean and tidy around these injectors. We did blow it with an air compressor before we started, just to make sure there's no loose debris that's going to get into our system. Okay, that's our fuel line. Keep the orientation. Okay, that's our fuel line off. Now we're going to remove our fuel return line. Just slowly but surely get underneath that clip. There we go. Just careful, it has got an O-ring. There we go. That's our fuel return line out. Now we're going to tackle the electrical. I think a little flat screwdriver might help us. The little side clips. There we go. I just pried it backwards and it pops out. This is your electrical. It's obviously a solenoid. That's on a common rail. TDDI vehicles won't have this because it's timed with the engine timing. This is timed electronically with a camshaft and crankshaft position sensor. There we go. Okay, now we need to get the right start Torx bit under our bolt. To get our injector out, it's held down in place with a T50 bolt. So we've got that hooked up to our ratchet. I'm going to go slowly because I don't want to be knocking my hand against something. These are normally pretty tight. Just go slowly, take your time. There we go. That seems to have done it. Okay, let's take that out of the way. A bit clumsy, it's a massive wrench. Okay, so we're just removing our retainer. Okay, that bolt should be out. we go. That's our retaining clip. I'm just going to put this one side so we don't drop it in the engine bay. Let's go get a screwdriver in there and fetch that retainer. Okay, I'm going to jiggle the injector up. Okay guys, so that's our injector removed. What we need to look out for is there's normally a copper crush washer at the bottom. I can clearly see it hasn't come out with the injector, so we're going to have to fetch that down the well. And in anticipation for that, with a little bit of welding wire, I've made a little hook, and with a flat screwdriver we're going to try, it's going to be hard to get you in there, but we're going to try get that washer to stand upright, and then we're going to try fish it out. Okay, so I'm going to put this down and let's see if we can fish that out. Okay, so with a little flat screwdriver, I'm going to need some lights in there. You guys aren't going to really be able to see this. Like I said, we're just going to get our screwdriver down the well and flip that washer up. There we go, it's standing up. And then you'll see what I mean. Michael, just hold that for us. Thank you. Difficult to see it in there. But it is a copper washer. It's got a little bit of grit on it, so it's not even going to shine nasty there. Once we fetch it, we will show you what it looks like. Come on. And these washers have to be replaced, guys, so they're once off use. And I'm not winning. Also, you don't want to drop anything in this hole that shouldn't be there, because it does go directly to your piston. So that'll be in the engine cylinder head. And drop, and
there we go.
We fished out our little retaining washer. That's what I was talking about. These are a once-off use crush washer for your injectors, and the new injector did come with one, so we'll be replacing that. Guys, I know this is a little bit tedious way of doing it. Could have always sprayed a little bit of cleaner in there if you had some chewing gum or something. You could have taken a chance to try press it and pull it out. If you've got an easier way, let us know in the comments. I'm just scared with things like that it ends up making us work harder to get that which we were trying to use out. So, you know, imagine chewing gum and oil and it gets loose and it's back down the hole. You know, it's just, this works. It's a little bit of welding wire. Done.
Really?
Alright guys, with our injector out and with our crush washer out, I'm going to take the opportunity and just clean down the well there. I'm not going to use blue roll or shop roll, only because I don't want to get paper stuck down there. So I'm actually going to use a cloth, because I know nothing's going to break off here. Just give it a little bit of a clean. I'm just using a flat screwdriver. I'm going to, hopefully this fits in there. Get that all like that, and just give it a bit of a clean up. We're going to make sure our mating surface and all that's clean, no carbon and oil and the rest of it. So give it a good spin around. Again, we want everything clean and tidy. You can have a look down there, Mark, you'll see how clean it is. Much better.
Clean.
Okay, let's recondition or remend new injector unit. Just been delivered by Carla. They obviously got these protection. That's our injector tip. Again, guys, we want to keep everything very clean. That's our new crush washer. That's our fuel line. Again, you don't want to get anything in your fuel lines. I'm just going to get the retaining clip on here, and then we're going to drop it in the well. Right, that's our retaining clip. That's what holds and presses our injector down into place with a bolt. As you tighten it, it's pushing down on that crush washer. So we're going to try and orientate it. We just simply drop that down with our crush washer. Our crush washer can only fit in one place, so should be all right.
Dropping tools down.
Yeah. And that is in there. Now we're going to get our fixing bolt. Guys, I hope this is the end of our fueling issue. I really hope this unit is good that they've sent us. Again, probably a bit of a hard start the first time around, because it's going to have a bit of air in the system. Needs to build up pressure again. Okay, that's done with my hand. Let's get a wrench on there. And with our T50 Torx again, I'm going to start tightening it down slowly. We need to make sure we're squashing that crush washer. Again, we're going into an aluminium cylinder head, so we've got to just be careful I'm not too sure what the torque settings are. I'm just going by feeling and experience. At the end of the day, this is a high compression engine. You don't want to not tighten it properly. And I think we are about there. Give it one more. And that's starting to feel good. That's us. We're going to leave it at that. That's our injector down. With our SAR 17, we get our fuel rail back in and our electrical back in. So we'll start with the electrical because that's at the bottom of the setup. That can only go in one way. The same way we took it out. Same way we're going to just press it back in and it should clip. Sorry, it's an awkward thing to show you guys on camera, but I'm sure you get the idea. Just going to line it up straight with that hole and jiggle it in. A little bit low, bring it higher. Alright guys, to get the electrical clip in, I found it easier to just press it with a little bit of pliers just to make sure the clips are in. You'll hear a clicking noise and then you know you're good. Our fuel line in. It will also only fit one way, so if you're getting it wrong and it's not lining up, you'll know. Always turn these in by hand first, guys. You don't want to be cross-threading your common rail. This is a common rail. Always like to go backwards on the thread to hear a click and then start the threading. There we go. Get that to seat nicely. Turn it in by hand. That's in. That's in. Take our 17 again. Nothing difficult about this job so far. Luckily we ran into no problems. Just nip them each a little bit. And okay, I actually want to, before we tighten it, I want to get our return line in. I just want to keep protecting all the holes and that, you know. We don't want any dirt in there, so just close up all the holes and then we can button it up. Again, right at the back of the nut, not in the front. Gives you more torque at the back and you don't end up breaking it. Make sure we're at the back. Give it a good soft one. You need to squash that so that it seals properly. We might crack it on cranking to just air it out if it's struggling to start. So for now we're going to tighten it in with the hope that it does just air out and run it through the system. As soon as it starts, we're going to keep it at about 2000 RPM just to make sure that it doesn't die while because the return line might be putting air back in the system. We need to get that all out so the car runs smoothly and we don't want it to die during the process. So I'm going to button these up properly in the hope that it does start easier and air itself out. Otherwise we will be cracking these nuts on cranking. I'm just struggling with this electrical box. Let me give it a bit more of a turn from this side. Again, once we start the engine, we're going to be looking for leaks around every connector. So the return line, the supply side of the injector, and on the common rail, we're just going to be wiping it off and making sure we've got no leaks. And that's tight. Again guys, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to our channel. We put a lot of effort into these videos for you. Mark sits up late editing them. And that's us, good to go. That's done.
Crank her up.
Let's crank her up. Sounding good.
Sounding good.
Keep it on 2000, Mark. Keep it at 2000. Get all the air out, eh? Alright guys, so you've seen us replace the injector. It was a bit of a long start, obviously, to get the air and that out of the system. We've run it to temp, and it starts first time now, indicating we're in the right direction. But guys, like I promised, a video on the injector, done, sorted. You can do it yourself if you're willing to try. It's quite simple. Always double check yourself, like we mentioned. And guys, again, like, share, subscribe. We've got a lot of other content on this vehicle. We're going to clear the DTCs right now, the stored codes, error codes, take it for a proper ride out again and make sure that our fueling issue is finally gone. If not, we most likely have a fuel pump issue. So stay tuned. There's a lot more content coming on this car, guys. And remember, it's Menace Rides. There's motorbikes. Check out our other videos. We've got builds on motorbikes. We've got builds on 125s. We've got a lot of things happening. We're going to be doing a complete makeover on this vehicle. If you haven't seen our previous videos, it was a salvage purchase. You can go back and watch that. There's a lot of scratches, a lot of things happening here. But Michael and I and Carla have got a surprise for you. We're going to completely transform this W204 when we're happy it's running right. And a lot of good DIY content. I mean, we're going to do a lot to this car. We're going to be learning, and hopefully you learning with us. And if you like it, like, share, subscribe. Menace Rides, it's been awesome.